Hello everyone, my name's Kay Kalthoff and welcome to a Stamping to Share video. Today I'm going to share with you this beautiful card. I made this for the swap card for our Hawaiian swap that we're doing when we go on our incentive trip. And this is just so much fun to make. It uses a stamp set called Flower Patch, which is being carried into the new catalog. It looks like this. And it is wonderful. It's a photopolymer stamp set, so you can see exactly where you're going with it. And I'm going to show you how to make this card. Now these are card fronts because I will be swapping these with the ladies on the incentive trip. But I'm going to show you how to make it into a full-size card. And I couldn't even begin to decide what I liked best because this is the one that has just text. This is using the specialty designer series paper called Typeset. And that is also carrying into the new catalog. So I was really excited to hear about that because I do use that paper quite a bit. This is the matte background from that same paper pack. And then I was going to use the ads on the card that I'm making for you. So let's go ahead and learn how to do this. The first thing that you're going to need is some basic black paper, cut at 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And then we're just going to use a bone folder. Now I'm going to fold towards the mountain. That is the proper way to fold a card when you have a score line in it. And just a quick crease on the back helps the card to lay flat while we're working with it. The next thing that we're going to need is 2 pieces of very vanilla cardstock. This is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. One is going to be for the inside panel and one we're going to build our outside panel on. So the outside panel is the one that does not need any stamping on, so I'm going to set that aside and we're going to work with the panel that will be stamped. This is a piece of our Typeset Specialty Designer Series paper cut at 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Now because this stamp set is a photopolymer stamp set, it's a good idea to use a Stampin' Pierce mat for the stamping. Now because this is going to bleed off the side of the paper, I'm going to use some scrap paper over the top of my Stampin' Pierce mat. And here is our stamp. You can see right through it. And we are going to ink that up with some Tangelo Twist. I had to think before I said that, but I think I got it right. Now we're going to just put our first stamp down in the upper left-hand corner of that panel. Give it a good little push. And then we're going to need another image up here in the upper right, about like here. And then one more image down in the lower part of this panel. So we will stamp that right here. And we have that image all stamped and ready to go. So we'll set this aside for a minute and then we'll grab one of our vanilla panels. This will be for the inside. So I'm going to ink that up and then we're going to stamp this down here in the lower left corner where it's kind of out of the way. It still gives us plenty of room to write anything that we want on the inside of our card. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this into the inside of our card and get it kind of out of the way. So let us do that. So I'm just going to center it between all 4 borders here and give that a little press, and we are ready with to continue on with the outside panel of our card. So now this is where our layering process begins. We have the very vanilla panel and now we're going to layer this on top. So I'm just going to use a little bit of snail here and layer that right there. Again, making sure that all 4 borders are nice and even. And then the next thing we can do is add a strip of designer series paper that's in sort of a striped pattern. It's from this same Typeset specialty paper. It's cut at about 1 by 6 inches. And I purposely left it a little longer because I want to trim that even with our edges. So now I'm just going to put this right about here on our card, and I'm just making sure that it's nice and straight on the card. Press that down, and then we can go ahead and using our paper snips, we'll trim this even with the edge. There we go. Now we'll add a little bit of Venetian trim on this bottom border here of the striped paper that we put on. And I'm just going to secure that with some Scotch tape. All right, I have the edges secured now with the Scotch tape, and then it's time to do a little bit more stamping. So back in comes the scrap paper, back in comes the stamp mat, and then we have a piece of Very Vanilla paper. This is cut at 1.5 by 3 1/4, and I'm going to ink up the sentiment with Memento black ink. And then we're going to stamp this sentiment right here in the middle of our panel, just like so. We can set this aside, and then we will start layering the next layer on our card base. Well, I should say our card panel. So that will be a 2 by 3 3/4 inch panel of Very Vanilla. I'm just going to go ahead and put this down again with some snail. And then we'll just set this right in here a little bit above the Venetian trim. And then with the panel that we had stamped the sentiment on, I went ahead and I put dimensionals on it. And then we're going to center this onto this panel right here. It's so pretty, wouldn't you agree? We are going to take a different piercing mat, or this is the stamp mat that I have one separated out called for piercing. That's where I do all of my paper piercing. I don't like to stamp on top of something that has a bunch of holes. So now I'm just going to go ahead and make a hole right here. I'm going to take one of our beautiful antique brads, and we'll just set that right in where that hole is. And we are ready to put this onto our card base. So the front panel is done. I think it just looks so cool. And let's go ahead and add this to our card front. So we'll add a few dimensionals on the back just to give it a little breathing room. And then we can flip this over and put it right into our card front. And our card is complete. So here it is, this awesome card made with the Flower Patch stamp set. And then when you open it up, there's another little flower on the inside. So again, here's the card that I made. And here are a couple of the cards that I have that will be in the swap. So just so much fun. Hope you've enjoyed seeing what I'll be swapping in Hawaii. Have a great day, and thank you so much for stopping by Stamping to Share. If you'd like to place an order with me and you don't currently have a demonstrator, please visit my blog at www.stampingtoshare.com. Bye-bye.